This is warehouse number 1. For over a century, this structure has anchored the industrial engine of the Los Angeles waterfront, a physical reminder of the port's deep historical roots. That industrial identity is shifting as hundreds of millions of dollars in private and public capital arrive at the harbor. See the footprint here. West Harbor represents a $500 million waterfront investment, and the Jedi Zone provides direct business incentives. Add the 2026 World Cup watch parties and 2028 Olympic sailing events, and San Pedro becomes a primary gateway for international visitors. For local business owners, you are no longer just competing with the shop down the street. You are now positioned directly against the polished marketing budgets of national brands moving into the harbor. To stay relevant in this new economy, local entrepreneurs have to establish digital authority. You have to prove your value to a customer before they ever step foot in your building. That authority is built through consistent high-fidelity content, things like video podcasts and brand hero videos that demonstrate your expertise. Most people try to do this themselves. They spend hours fighting with tripods and tangled cables in a spare room, trying to make an iPhone video look professional against a plain white wall. In a social feed, that DIY content sits right next to high-end corporate production. The visual gap is immediate, and it often makes a local expert look like an amateur. A low-quality digital footprint can push potential customers toward a more polished competitor, making it harder for local brands to capture the growth happening in their own neighborhood. If you want to close that quality gap, you have 3 clear choices. Let's start with building your own in-house studio. Once you account for 4K cameras, professional microphones, and proper acoustic panels, you face an upfront cost between $5,000 and $15,000. You also lose functional space. That red zone on the floor plan is revenue-generating square footage now occupied by a permanent video set. Beyond the money, there is the operational reality. You effectively become a part-time AV technician. You'll spend hours troubleshooting firmware, adjusting 3-point lighting, and trying to fix audio levels, instead of running your company. The DIY route often becomes a trap, where you trade your limited time for a production that still feels unpolished. Your second option is a commercial studio rental elsewhere in Los Angeles. This solves the technical problem. You get high-end gear and 0 setup time. You just show up and record. However, most of these spaces are sterile gray boxes. They lack any unique character and look like they could be located in an office park anywhere in the country. If your brand is built on local connection, recording in a soulless corporate environment can make you feel disconnected from the very community you're trying to reach. That brings us to the third option, Voxel Micro Video Labs at the Donn Allan Experience. This lab is located inside a beautiful 1922 historic building on West 6th Street. On camera, the exposed brick and original timber provide a visual texture that reflects the deep history of downtown San Pedro. It's a turnkey setup. On-site engineers manage the equipment, so you can sit down and record without worrying about the technology. The trade-off is that you have to batch your content. You can't just record on a whim at 2 a.m. You have to schedule your sessions in advance. But that forced discipline usually results in higher efficiency. It forces you to prepare and execute your entire month's worth of content in a single protected block of time. Evaluating the total cost of ownership reveals a clear winner. Unlike a $15,000 DIY build or expensive corporate rentals, Voxel's monthly membership saves capital. It eliminates the time drain of DIY troubleshooting, and crucially, Voxel is the only option offering an authentic, neighborhood-specific aesthetic. For a growing business, spending your energy on gear maintenance or recording in a sterile room is a poor use of your brand equity. The DIY route still makes sense if your brand is built entirely on a raw, unpolished, behind-the-scenes identity. But Voxel was built for entrepreneurs who need world-class quality without losing their local identity. The Voxel label was originally used by Allan for an ambitious medical imaging startup that didn't succeed. Reclaiming that name for this studio turns that history of local trial and error into a platform for your story. Stop losing your business hours to technical friction. Let the engineers handle the gear to focus on the message. Book a session at Voxel Micro Video Labs and establish your brand's digital presence before the harbor's growth passes you by.